On the world map, Russia stands as the largest country on Earth, stretching across two continents, Europe and Asia. But behind this immense land lies over 1,000 years of turbulent history, filled with glorious victories and tragic collapses. Today, we will follow the traces of history, uncovering Russia's journey of awe from its humble beginnings to becoming one of the world's most powerful nations. Russia's history did not begin with Moscow. In fact, the first name that's shown in the chronicles was Kievan Rus, an ancient state in the south. The founders of this state were not Slavs, but northern Vikings, known as the Varangians. They followed trade routes along mighty rivers, establishing Kiev as the richest and most prosperous center of Eastern Europe. In the year 988, Prince Vladimir the Great adopted Eastern Orthodox Christianity from the Byzantine Empire, laying the spiritual and cultural foundation for future Russia. Kievan Rus flourished rapidly, becoming a major center of trade, culture, and the first pride of the Slavic people. But such prosperity would not last long. The shadow of war and destruction was drawing dangerously close. In the 13th century, the greatest tragedy in the history of Kievan Rus struck. From the east, a terrifying army was marching, the Mongols. In 1240, the once glorious city of Kiev was reduced to ashes. The entire Slavic land fell under the harsh rule of the Mongol Empire for nearly 250 years. But in this darkness, a small principality in the north quietly rose, Moscow. Cleverly submitting tribute, it survived and waited for its chance. In 1380, Prince Dmitry Donskoy of Moscow achieved the impossible, defeating the Mongols at the legendary Battle of Kulikovo, rekindling Russia's hope for independence. This was a victory not only of swords, but of faith, unity, and unyielding courage, opening a new chapter for Moscow and for all of Russia. In the 16th century, Moscow entered a new era. In 1547, Ivan IV was crowned, becoming the first Tsar in Russian history. But history would remember him by another name, one that struck fear across Europe: Ivan the Terrible. Under Ivan's rule, Russia expanded eastward, conquering Siberia and subjugating the Islamic khanates of Kazan and Astrakhan. But alongside his military glory, Ivan cast a dark shadow over his people. He established the Oprichnina, a brutal secret police force that terrorized his own nation. Ivan the Terrible's reign was a symbol of contradiction, of greatness in territorial conquest and horror in domestic tyranny. After centuries of internal chaos, Russia entered a new golden age under the reign of Peter the Great, one of its most visionary rulers. Ascending the throne in 1682, Peter launched the most ambitious reforms in Russian history. He personally traveled to Europe, studying military technology, shipbuilding, science, and modern statecraft. Returning home, Peter transformed Russia, building a modern army, developing industry, and reshaping society along Western lines. His greatest achievement was the construction of St. Petersburg, Russia's first modern city, a symbol of its ambitions to reach out to the world. In the 18th century, Russia reached new heights of power and glory under the reign of Catherine the Great, the most remarkable empress in Russian history. She was not only a brilliant ruler, but also the architect of Russia's transformation into the largest empire in Eastern Europe. Under Catherine, Russia expanded its borders to the greatest extent, seizing Crimea and gaining control of the Black Sea after brutal wars against the Ottoman Empire. She was also a great patron of culture, art, and science, turning St. Petersburg into a vibrant center of European learning and creativity. Catherine the Great's reign was Russia's last brilliant golden age, before the storms of the 20th century would forever change its destiny. As Russia entered the 20th century, its colossal empire began to crumble, shaken by war, poverty, and growing social unrest. In 1917, two revolutions shattered the old world, forever changing the destiny of Russia. In February, the Romanov dynasty collapsed after more than 300 years of rule. Tsar Nicholas II was forced to abdicate. Later that year, the October Revolution erupted, led by the Bolsheviks under Lenin, seizing control of the nation. The old Russian Empire fell, a new regime was born, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, the USSR. After Lenin's death in 1924, power passed to Joseph Stalin, one of the most controversial figures in human history. Under Stalin, the USSR became an industrial and military superpower, but at a terrible cost: famines, repression, and mass purges. The USSR entered the Cold War, challenging the United States, dominating half the world, but leaving behind scars of sacrifice, blood, and exhaustion. The 20th century witnessed the greatest geopolitical confrontation in history, the Cold War between the USSR and the United States. It was a war without battles, fought through weapons, intelligence, technology, and space exploration. In 1961, the USSR shocked the world by sending Yuri Gagarin, the first human, into space. But behind the glory was a Soviet Union weakened by military spending and economic stagnation. The war in Afghanistan, starting in 1979, dragged the USSR deeper into crisis and exhaustion. In 1991, the unthinkable happened. The Soviet Union collapsed. The red flag was lowered from the Kremlin, marking the end of an empire that once ruled half the world. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Russia entered the chaotic and painful decade of the 1990s. The economy plummeted, hyperinflation soared, corruption spread, and criminal gangs dominated the streets. But in late 1999, a new figure emerged on Russia's political stage, Vladimir Putin. Under his leadership, Russia began to recover. The economy grew strongly thanks to oil and gas exports. Yet along with revival came tightened control, suppression of the press, opposition, and political freedoms. On the international stage, Russia asserted its military strength, intervening in Georgia, Syria, and especially Ukraine. Modern Russia stands between pride in its past and the harsh challenges of the future, in a world changing faster than ever before. The history of Russia is a journey of great contradictions, glory and tragedy, rise and fall, power and suffering. For over 1,000 years, Russia has stood firm, shaped by resilience, struggle, and an unbreakable national spirit. The past has passed. The present is full of challenges, and Russia's future remains a question the world will always watch closely.